Now let's start our design we have created in the last lesson. Let's save it with some name like WStudio. Okay, now I have opened up all the documents I need, which are, one is this content. Okay, so I need this content open up, and then I need this document where we have our logo, which is Illustrator file, and the other things you need are this image I am using, which are basically my assets. So I'm going to use this image, which is a royalty free image. Also, I'm going to load my UI style guide into Photoshop. Okay, so I'm going to load this right now into my Photoshop. Okay, like that. Okay, now the first thing we are going to do is we are going to arrange them to up horizontal like that. Okay, so I have this UI style guide loaded at the top like this, and my design is over here. Okay, so let's move it a bit up, and I'm going to zoom in, click this one and zoom into it 100%. Okay, now we are going to select this header. Okay, so I'm going to select this header and navigation and logo, and I'm going to grab my logo from here. Okay, copy, and I am going to paste it over here. Control V, Command V, smart object, and it is going to be a smart object. Okay, now for the grid, we are going to make it 20% so we can see through it, and I'm going to lock it. Okay, so let's make it 10%. I think 20% is good. Okay, I'm going to lock it, and I'm going to move. So once I lock this, I can click on any layer behind this. Okay, so right now I'm just aligning them without using any distances or spaces. Okay, now the next step is we are going to use this body text, which is going to be our links. So I'm going to click over here once. Okay, now we are going to get the content from here. Okay, so I'm going to copy these links from this top navigation document, and I'm going to paste it over here like that. Okay, so I'm going to also color is, I already have this color palette, so make sure you have this color palette. You can also create variations of the colors, like I have used this one. Okay, a bit darker grayish color. Okay, so let's hide the grid over here. Okay, let's create some guides around it so I know the boundary at least. Okay, so I'm going to hide my grid right now, just so I can design freely. Okay, so freely. Okay, now I'm going to create a black button over here, which was in our style guide over here. This is normal button, and the style let's click this, and I'm going to grab it. Okay, so this is our layer, and I'm going to grab it and drag it over here. Okay, so this is our button right now. Let's name it get a quote, something like this. Okay, so we are going to use regular over here, Nonito Sans regular 20 pixels, and the button size should be 144 by 40 because we are going to use small button. Okay, so this is going to be a small button. Control T or Command T, 144 by 40. Make sure you haven't clicked this, otherwise it is going to mess up your heights and width. So I'm going to move it a bit down like that. I think I see some spacing. Okay, so I'm going to remove this from here. Okay, so it is basically tracking. Okay, so it is looking weird. It was too much. Maybe 5 is good. Okay, so I'm going to move this with these. Okay, let's make sure we are going to align it over here. Okay, so let's select this and align it over here. You can see the smart guides are coming up. They are aligning things with these. Okay, so I'm going to align everything like that. Okay, so I think my rounded corner is a bit too much, so I'm going to use 4 pixels over here like this. Okay, so it is looking good. Okay, so we have get a quote and top section almost done. Okay, now next is our heading and paragraph and button over here, and then we had a video image over here. Okay, before that we are going to set the height of our top area. Okay, so let's create the height of 800, something like this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a 800 pixel high something over here like this. Now why I need this block to get the top section? Okay, so I'm going to create a guide like this. So it is on 800. Now I'm going to delete it. Okay, so what I'm trying to do over here is, okay, so I think now I should shift to this tile like this. Okay, let's have some space over here. Also we can zoom out a bit so it is easier for us. I have more space over here. Okay, now we need heading 1. Just drag this and delete everything else, and I am going to use heading 1. Okay, so I think I deleted everything. Okay, so we need, okay, so the font is Yorkton and we are going to use 54. Okay, and also I'm going to use the line height to be 54 like this. Okay, you can also use 56 if you want to. 56. Okay, now we have our heading over here. Let's align it randomly. Don't worry too much about alignment. We are going to fix that once we are in our grid. Okay, now we need a paragraph over here, and we are going to select our T and text tool and drag something like this, and we are going to copy this area, this paragraph, and move to Photoshop. It has Nonito, Sans, regular, and 20 pixels or 20 points, and we are going to use 24 over here. Okay, 24 is basically our line height. It is also multiple of 8. Okay, now you can see that this color is looking very sharp, so we are going to make it dull like this. Okay, so we need this color. We specified this color in your style guide. You can see over here, if you go to this, you can see these are the colors for your dark and light gray. Okay, so next step is we are going to create a button over here. So for that we had our button style, which was this one. Okay, so I'm going to drag and drop my button over here. Okay, so there, that is get started now. Okay, so this is our button. Let's align it in the middle like this. Okay, this is looking good. btn main. Okay, so this is our btn main. Let's move it inside our header area. Okay, so this is going to be over here, which is, what is this? I think it's our button. Let's zoom out. Okay, so it's btn quote navbar. Okay, so it is in the navigation. So I'm going to move it to navigation and logo, navigation and logo, navigation and logo. Okay, so let's rename it to logo. This is our vector smart object, this one. Okay, now we are going to move this button over here. Select this button V, and I'm going to move it like this. So don't worry about alignment, vertical alignment. We are going to get that in after we are going to fix the whole design. Now we are going to create something over here, which is going to be our, okay, so we have few layers outside. We need to move them inside the header. Okay, now let's turn our grid on because we need our grid right now, and I think we need it at least 50%, so I can see what is the size of my columns. Okay, so we have these columns over here. Okay, so let's create a rectangle, and I am going to create a rectangle like this. Okay, this is going to be our video area. Okay, you can create or paste any image over here. I have a folder full of free images. Let me show you. Okay, here is a folder I have of free images of workspace. So I'm going to grab any image from here and I'm going to drag it into my Photoshop, and we are going to move it over here like this. Okay, so this is our image. I am going to place it inside this. Okay, something like that, and we are going to group it and call it video area. Okay, so again it is going to be inside the header, or you can call it hero area or whatever, it's up to you. Okay, so I'm going to arrange few things. Okay, so video area, and it is going to have some overlay on it. Okay, so I'm going to use some overlay on this area. So let's move to layer styles, gradient overlay, and we are going to use the same gradient we had, maybe this one. Okay, it's a bit we all have these gradients in our style guides, I think. So let's see where it is going to be like. Okay, so we are going to make it something like this. Maybe we can use overlay or multiply or maybe darken. Okay, so keep trying till the time you are going to get. Okay, so I'm going to use overlay with normal, and let's hide my. Okay, so this is looking good.